at the restarts or the initial start, but I tell you now, it could be desperation time for a lot of their drivers because this could be their only chance. Can he get a jump like he did before, Paul? We'll see.
Crowd jumps to its feet. They're off of the hairpin.
Green.
Franchitti stays there on this one. Herta tucks in pretty well, loses some distance. Fernandez falls well back. Franchitti's all over him down to the first corner. 4 laps to go. Now Herta, he almost loses it. Franchitti is right there and pushing him. Herta's closed back in.
Now remember what Barry Green said, even though we saw Dario locking up his tires earlier, he said that Dario's been trying to keep good tires underneath him during this entire run. We know that Juan was pretty conservative towards the end of that last run, but now we'll see, because now this whole race is up for grabs.
Franchitti is right there. This is one of the passing zones. He darts a little, doesn't move for it.
You'll see these cars dance now, Paul. These guys are on the edge. Listen to him work the throttle.
That closure came with the braking of Montoya. Had nothing to do with Franchitti. Montoya accelerates away. Interval at the line, 9/10. 3 to go.
Keep in mind, Paul, that on those on those yellow caution laps, they pick up a lot of the race rubber that's been laid down. So these first few laps, the cars are very nervous, very difficult to drive.
Oh, Franchitti once again. Montoya, though, is the faster. Franchitti's really got that car darting.
You're not looking at lap time. That's the speed that we see on the right there. And Montoya's starting to pull away. Look at him drive that car, Paul.
Oh, but so many other factors lie just offside the line of this track. Twice we've seen it today. We're just a wheel 6 inches off into the marbles, and you're into the barrier. Montoya for the hairpin.
He's working it.
Oh, what a great line. Ripped right off of there.
Okay,
Little slower.
2 to go.
Little slower for Franchitti. He drops back. The interval goes to 1.6.
Well, we've got the 3 best street course racers in the business here, first, second, and third, with Juan Montoya. We didn't know he was one of the best in the business, but apparently he's just given notice. Dario Franchitti and Brian Herta.
The great Jody Scheckter used to describe a driver as driving disconnected, meaning that he was skating the car everywhere he went, but still in total control. I think that definition works here.
When my team owners used it, it meant that my head was disconnected from the rest of my body, Paul, so...
I was going to say, that's a whole different deal.
Yes, it is. We won't go there.
11,
Michel,
no big deal.
Michel Jourdain Jr. stopped on the course over by 11. Shouldn't be a factor, especially since we're in the final laps.
Sounded like Chip Ganassi talking to Juan Montoya. You can hear how monotone, how calm he is.
Okay, 1 to go. White flag.
Chip Ganassi calls it for you. You saw Jourdain's car there at the edge. It will not be a factor in the final lap. Order remains the same. Montoya, Franchitti, Herta, Fernandez, Fittipaldi, Gildeferin.
If you're in this position, Paul, you're just going, come on, baby, keep running. You really want to be very clean here. You brake just a tad early, give yourself just an inch off the wall, but not too much. You can't get off the racing line.
He has the time, 2.2, as they went under the white flag separation, Montoya to Franchitti.
Back in his pits, everybody there that's worked so hard for so long, getting these cars ready for this race after Motegi. Their hearts in their throats, fingers crossed.
Oh, this kid is good. So very, very good. Juan Montoya, his 3rd race in the series, looks for his first career win.
The man. You are the man.
There you heard Chip Ganassi say it.
You are the man. Great job.
Oh, without question, the 39th winner in kart history, and the name is Juan Montoya as he thanks the crew. Look at that. There's a happy guy.
Remember, Juan, now for Victory Circle, you come in the back door. You come in the back door.
And Dario Franchitti comes up alongside to congratulate him. Montoya wins it, followed by Herta, Fernandez, Fittipaldi, DeFerrin, Andretti, Moore, Pappas, and Vassar.
We'll make up this distance with 5 laps to go. I'm not seeing traffic that's going to help me out. Do I drive just within myself and try to protect my position, or do I really try to hang it out to even get close enough to make a charge for a position and take the chance of walling the car?
Montoya 6.5 seconds ahead of Jones, and then Tracy and DeMata just behind Jones. Montoya with 3 to go. Focus of the battle, barring any other situation, is going to be on Jones, Tracy, and DeMata on the final lap.
Because, Paul, I got to tell you, for the top 4 drivers, although they may not admit it publicly with the exception of Montoya, all 4 of these drivers, Montoya, Jones, Tracy, and DeMata, would be very, very pleased to finish right where they are.
No tension in that pit, though. They're looking to go back-to-back. Jones, Tracy, DeMata, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. It's going to be tight. They're all right there. He saw it first 2 weeks ago. He sees it first again. White flag. Less than a mile to go for Montoya. And Montoya works down the backside. Jones, Tracy, DeMata are nose to tail.
These guys aren't giving up, Paul.
Montoya slows, comes off the corner, takes the checkered flag, takes the win. Battle for second is going to be it, and it's not much of one. Jones, Tracy, DeMata, but those are going to be 3 very happy men. That's a major accomplishment for all of them. Montoya wins in 2 races in his first 4 starts and equals the performance of Nigel Mansell back in 1993. We'll be back. How critical turn 1 is. Hard acceleration up to 200 miles an hour on a normal lap. Not that far from it on a lap like this. Montoya already starts, pulls away, but keep an eye behind him. Franchitti not respond at the same time Montoya did. And he's not looking for momentum into 1. Montoya is heading into 1 now. Here comes Fittipaldi as he tries his move, and he doesn't have enough to do it either.
Montoya did it again, Paul. He out-snookered the rest of the field, and all of a sudden Dario, instead of being on the offensive, had to be defensive going down into turn 1. But Dario is fantastic on the brakes. He kept Christian from getting around the inside, and now they've strung out again. Every guy doing whatever he can, getting that car as neutral as possible to make that last final run to the checkered flag.
Montoya pulls out a second on the field. The battle is back in second place. Franchitti, Fittipaldi. Max Pappas is close by as well. Franchitti now pulls out a bit from Fittipaldi.
I mentioned earlier on the steering wheel they have an overtake button which gives them maximum RPMs, maximum power. I guarantee these guys are just holding that button in all the way around the circuit to make sure that they've got everything they can get out of their power plant. They've got their heads as low as possible, trying to get every bit of speed to keep in the draft and try to catch the guy in front of them.
On the backstretch, you got a good look up the field. Nothing has changed there. No one in challenge right now. Focus of the battle is here at second place because Montoya looks like he may do it again.
What we saw at Long Beach and Nazareth is that once Montoya pulls out this gap, he actually starts driving a little more conservatively and is still able to extend his lead. Mentally, he's very, very tough. He's 23 years old, obviously great car control, great talent, but mentally he's superb, and he's doing it once again.
Max Pappas may be on his way to his best career finish. Previous best was 5th. He's in 4th now.
Montoya mentioned at the beginning of the show that he hoped to win a couple of races this year. Never really thinking about the championship, but he thought if he did well this weekend, his mind might start turning towards championship considerations. And Paul, I think he better start thinking about it right now because it looks like he's got first place in the championship 5 races into the season locked up.
Richie Hearn into the pits and out of the run.
Paul, the situation there with Richie Hearn, it's the same thing that we've seen with the other Toyota power plants. It overheated.
Well, the high humidity here in Rio has very definitely been a factor here today. Most of those being listed out as a turbocharger failure.
Whoa!
big wiggle coming off of turn 4, Paul. I may have said he was driving conservatively, but not slowly. We saw him right on the ragged edge, 900 horsepower through those Firestone tires. What a great save coming off the corner, and he's not showing any signs of letting up.
Again, the back end jumps just a little bit. Montoya on the backstretch.
And he's the only car to get into the 38-second bracket, Paul. He's at 38.9, Franchitti down to 39 flat. Montoya extending his lead, driving the fastest laps of the race right at the very end.
P.J. Jones, while we're watching the leader, almost all the way through the dirt as he comes down to overhaul Patrick Carpentier. White flag. Final lap for Juan Montoya. Darts off in the corner. Franchitti can't catch him. Franchitti will remain unchallenged as well. There comes Franchitti onto the back stretch. Now Fittipaldi onto the back. An incredible accomplishment by this rookie driving for Chip Ganassi. Montoya, who'd never raced a big car on an oval before, then scores and scores again. And look at the team. The checkered flag, the victory, goes to Montoya. He continues his lead in the championship points at Chip Ganassi. The celebration begins. Though Jimmy Vasser was out early in kind of an unprecedented situation for that team, who never has mechanical failures. Franchitti at second, Fittipaldi third, Pappas, Canaan. That's the way they finish. Up to the West Coast for Winston Cup. The officials counting now at 5.5 minutes to go in the race. Montoya to Ferrin. The interval has extended to 5.9, almost 6 seconds. This will give you a look at the interval. He's through. Here comes DeFerrin. DeFerrin is the one now with slower traffic in front of him. Michael Andretti, he's struggling with those gears, but he's still able to stay in third place.
We can see Montoya got around Robbie Gordon. Probably Robbie letting him by, knowing the position with the leader behind him, because Robbie was running as fast as anybody on the racetrack. Just being a professional, letting the leader through.
Interval widens out first to second. DeFerrin now 7 seconds back. Still focusing on Brian Herta and Paul Tracy. That fight is for fourth.
You can see how wet it is still on this section of the race course. They still have to be very, very careful. They're running about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds slower than they were in the opening stages of the race. And it has to be primarily because of the water still standing down in turn 8.
Yellow flag being shown at the start-finish line. Robbie Gordon spun going into the first turn and got going again. There you see Robbie pulls away. DeFerrin had to drive around. Robbie Gordon maintained his second place position. The interval widens, 8.2 seconds. Montoya is driving away. I'm going to show you the full field as it sits right now. 8 cars on the lead lap. Good runs, especially by Al Unser Jr. and by Mimo Gidley. Come in there and collect a point for this race. Moreno again with another great run, replacing Mark Blundell, who kind of hedged it a little bit when he visited us up here in the booth. He said he hopes to be back in 2 weeks at Road America, but didn't sound like he was all that sure.
As you mentioned, great run by Memo Gidley in his second outing in a Champ Cars, picking up a couple of points if he can get it to the end. This track is very difficult to learn because it's so flat and so wide. There are no visual references. It's difficult to learn this track and get into a rhythm. Tarso, Marquez, Gidley, and more importantly, Juan Montoya, first-time visitors.
You saw Herta as he ran off course, back on. Tracy got by, now little Al gets by. Now Herta gets back up to a full steam. But Al Unser Jr. stays past him. Carpentier comes in behind him. So does Moreno. You will not miss the green flag for the Winston Cup race. They are holding for you. We'll get this one done in just a very few minutes, and then we'll send you right out to the West Coast. 2 minutes now counting to the end of this race. It switched from a 100-lap run to a timed race because of heavy rain showers, thunderstorms in the early going. Long period of caution, and then on rain tires they went back to racing, and finally as the track dried had to switch over to dry tires. Juan Montoya looks like he's going to do it again. A 9.6-second lead on second place, Gilles de Ferran. But remember, the racetrack, the airport, has been beating this car at every corner, and the car must survive to the end. The question now is not so much whether or not Montoya can keep it there, it's whether or not the car will stay under him. No indication that there's anything wrong with that machine, but you have to consider the fact that it's been punished, and the punishment has been brutal.
In Montoya's favor, the Ganassi Target team has had remarkable reliability over the last few years. Montoya making so few mistakes during the course of this season. Very, very tough mentally, very consistent, and very aggressive. A difficult combination to obtain at best.
Now, obviously, because we're going to run right to the end of this race and then switch you out to the West Coast for Winston Cup, the winner's interview will not take place here. That's just a factor of time. But it will be later on RPM tonight. Next time by, Montoya will see the white flag. 1 lap to go. Next time by the line, de Ferran is nearly 10 seconds back. Andretti is about 1.5 seconds back from de Ferran. Here comes that whole group. Al Unser Jr., Brian Herta battled for 5th. Tracy's managed to pull away in 4th. There's Tracy. Carpentier as though still very much part of this fight. Rick DeBrule?
Just want to update the situation on Brian Herta. Apparently, he almost got into contact with Gidley. That's what caused him to go off. The reason he was so slow was just getting stuff off the tires and getting back up to speed. Nothing wrong with the car, just a problem with getting back up to speed.
Montoya through the first turn for the final time. Looking very strong.
What a brilliant drive once again for Juan Montoya. He's conquered street courses, road courses, airport circuits, ovals, all in his first year in Champ Car competition. What an amazing young man he is. Tremendous car control, some of the fastest hands and reflexes I've ever seen, which has been echoed up and down the pit lane. Very disciplined, very focused.
Montoya works the final set of turns on this race course. Just one chicane separates him from victory. De Ferran will come across the line nearly 9 seconds later as Montoya slowed slightly down. Winston Cup is next. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, and the gang standing by.
Great job today, pal. Great job. You're the man. That was a hell of a job today.
And Chip Ganassi congratulates his driver as Juan Montoya scores his 4th win of the year and extends his points lead. And it's the 3rd win in a row at Cleveland for Chip Ganassi and his team. De Ferran is 2nd, Andretti 3rd, then Tracy, Unser Jr., Herta, Carpentier, Moreno, Robbie Gordon is 9th, and Richie Byrne is 10th. This will be the finish of the 81st lap. 83 the scheduled distance. Montoya through 1. Everybody rich on fuel. They can go as fast as they want. Montoya, though, unchallenged here with 2 to go. Montoya's family is here, his father, his girlfriend. They're all at the track. Most of the drivers now have taken to using motor coaches to stay, especially at a beautiful scenic place like the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, so that they're right there in the paddock, not far from their car. In the paddock here on Friday night, they had the taste of kart at Mid-Ohio for the championship auto racing auxiliary tyranny. Every one of the hospitality units put out some sort of refreshment, food. All the chefs went to work. It was a great evening.
Great layouts, and we must add that one of the hospitality areas, specifically Honda.
White flag, 1 to go.
had their chefs and crew dressed up in Gilligan's Island outfits, since their whole theme was South Pacific seafoods, and it was pretty riotous to see.
The fans here had a good time with it. Final lap for Juan Montoya. Tracy came across the line 11 seconds behind. Franchitti, as he came across the line, was really not in a challenging position on Tracy. Jimmy Vasser 14 seconds back.
And Paul Chip Ganassi doing some cheerleading for Jimmy Vasser. He'd like him on this last lap to be able to somehow get by Franchitti and deprive him of one more of those precious championship points.
Well, that in fact is a possibility at this point. Montoya is going to encounter some slower traffic down as he gets to the lower elevations of the course. This turns him back up the hill and back up toward the pit area.
He'll just lay back here, Paul. He's got such a big lead. He's not going to take any chances or push.
Juan Montoya on his way to his very first win on a natural road course and his first win since Cleveland.
Beautiful, beautiful. You're the man. Great job today driving. You did a great job driving today.
Montoya, his fifth win of the year. They're going to take you back to that battle for second, see if it indeed is one. And it's not. And there comes Jimmy Vasser across the line as well. Vasser's going to finish it in fourth. Now back a little further. Greg Moore, Robbie Gordon, that whole group lined up. There's Andretti and D'Amata. They come through the pace. Moore is trying to get on top of Gordon coming to the finish, and he can't do it. So the race is run. Montoya takes the win by 10.93 seconds over Paul Tracy, followed by Franchitti, Vasser, Pappas, and Gil de Ferran. Vasser, Max Pappas. It's still tight. There's Castro Neves. Patrick Carpentier is sixth. Then P.J. Jones, sitting just ahead of the leaders, is seventh. Now those cars, first through seventh, are all still on the leader lap.
Max Pappas has been shadowing Jimmy Vasser the entire time. You can see him go earlier into the corners. Max has been running this low line across that white paint strip all weekend long. He's been told that he's got to conserve some fuel because he got a little less than he had hoped that last stop. And yet, look at how good his car is working. Look how aggressive he is down on the inside. Castroneves also knowing that he's running out of time. If he's going to push and make a move, he's got to do it now.
221 complete, 4 to go.
Talked about it a little earlier. You make the corner wider going down low like that, but also the banking decreases. It rolls out a little bit, so you lose some grip from the lack of banking. You make it up on the width of the corner.
Helio Castroneves continues his ride, fifth place, right behind Pappas, Marty.
Now Helio's got to take it a little easy, though. He just called in a few laps ago and says, I've got an oversteer, and you know how quickly that tail end could come around if he pushes too hard.
Well, that would explain why coming off the corners from time to time he tends to fall back. 3 to go now. We look for the leader coming through. And there they are, still separated by Moreno. Listening to Montoya's radio, Chip Ganassi, his car owner on board, owner of the track here. Boy, this is going to be a great victory if he can pull it off for his sponsor's Target at this track and its inaugural race.
Okay, white flag, 1 to go, 1 to go.
Franchitti is not going to be in a position to attack. Moreno will separate them down the backstretch. It's still going to be Vasser, Pappas, Castroneves nose to tail as they fight this last lap. Montoya is looking to break that rookie record and a 6th win in this first season as Juan Montoya has done it.
You are the man, baby. You
6 victories. Here's that battle. Look at this as Max tries to make his move on Jimmy Vasser. Max goes high, goes low. They come off of the corner. And the battle for third resolves itself with Max Pappas not able to pass Jimmy Vasser. Vasser is third, Pappas is fourth, and Helio Castroneves comes across. We're back up at the front of the field watching the fight for second, Carpentier and Vasser. And while we will not be able to get the winner's interview on for you here, 8 o'clock tonight, RPM tonight on ESPN2, we'll have it for you, and other summaries of the event. So if you need that extra detail, that's the way we'll get it to you.
There's Gugelman, Damata, Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, Richie Hearn still trying to figure out how to get by here.
Oh, Hearn right in there on Tony Kanaan. This is a great fight that's lined up here. Carries you from Cristiano Damata in 5th all the way back to Montermini, who sits behind Richie Hearn. And Michael's right there, and so is now you take the pass. Now here we go. You're watching back to the front, battle for second. White flag will come out next time by. There's so much going on.
Look at Jimmy Vasser. He's got great exit speed going down this long straightaway.
Vasser wants him.
Whoa!
Carpentier pitches it totally sideways. Big four-wheel drift. Not supposed to do that in these cars.
Nothing like 160 miles an hour opposite lock lined with concrete walls.
Carpentier still holding off Vasser. Battle for second place, Montoya. 6 seconds ahead of these two. Radios to the cars are all but silent now. Here comes Gugelman.
We saw Richie Hearn looking to the outside of Kanaan there for a moment before we cut away.
Back in front to Montoya. He will see the white flag. There it is. Montoya now knows there's 1 lap to go in this timed race. The clock has in fact just run out as he crossed the line. So Montoya flashes across.
Plus 7.5. Plus 7.5.
Battle is back at second place. Carpentier and Vasser. Don't forget ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Final lap now for the entire field. White flag out to everybody. Battle still at second. Gugelman runs alone in 4th. Then Damata, Castroneves, and that battle between Tony Kanaan and Richie Hearn.
Even on this final lap, look at Montoya slide the car with a 7.5 second lead. He just never slows down, Paul.
Montoya working the final corners now. 7.5 seconds, as Chip Ganassi told him. Coverage coming from CBC.
Go easy, go easy. Don't worry. You're the man. Who's the man? You!
Montoya with a little
Great
dance.
job. You drove like a champion today.
Oh, the congratulations of the team. Here comes the run for second. Carpentier takes second, followed by Vasser. Here comes Gugelman. Damata, followed by Hearn. And a close call between Magnussen and Castroneves at the line.
Disappointing finish for Jimmy.
Well, they pretty much used Jimmy as the guinea pig because he's going to have a lot worse finish than he would have if he would have stopped in sequence.
Juan Montoya began racing at age 5 in go-karts. He's had an amazing career, including the car championship last year in his rookie year.
Buddy this year still trails by about 7 seconds.
There are going to be 2 laps to go here in just a second.
Plus 7 to Lazier. 2 to go. 9,
7.8 seconds to be exact. Next time around, the white flag will come out for Juan Montoya.
And it's been an amazing performance for this young man at his age. 2 years ago, he was testing at Williams. He was blindingly fast. That's when Chip Ganassi went over there to watch it test wins. And now he was testing for Williams. And he was so impressed by Montoya testing the car at the time that he said, I'll hire this guy. And it looks like Montoya might be headed for Formula 1 in the next couple of years for Williams.
Indeed, the white flag is coming out.
White flag. 1 to go.
1 more lap to go for Juan Montoya.
Well, he's got a fast race car, but he's handled every situation thrown at him for 500 miles, Bob.
Especially the start of the race, which was a little dodgy. He didn't come out on top on that one, but he wasn't that eager to take the lead. He got a little squeeze there. Just kind of stayed in 4th place, came back to the front, and has hardly relinquished that lead.
Again, a rookie has not won the Indianapolis 500 since 1966 when Graham Hill drove to victory. It looks like that Juan Montoya is going to do it here this afternoon.
You're the winner of the Indianapolis 500, pal.
Indeed, 24-year-old Juan Montoya wins the 84th running of the Indianapolis 500.
Boy, great performance.
Just an incredible performance.
He is happy.
He led 3 times for a total of 167 laps. Montoya becomes the 60th different driver to win the Indianapolis 500.
Buddy Ligier finishes second for the second time.
Juan, Tom Sneem in the ABC booth. First of all, congratulations. Was there anything close out there for you? Juan, great job. Congratulations. Your thoughts going to victory circle?
Well, apparently he can't hear us, but he is acknowledging the applause.
But Michael did close it down the last lap with 3 to go now. Boy, Andretti is just flying. 158.1 to 155.4 last time. Montoya will be looking for the white flag next time around. If he does so, he makes history a couple different ways. Going to tie the record for different winners thus far in the season. 1 mile to go for Juan Montoya. The Indianapolis 500 champion may make it back-to-back wins here. Indy and then Milwaukee. And Toyota is about to see their very first victory. They have tried so hard and so long, and now they see a checkered flag. Congratulations not only to Montoya, but to TRD and Toyota. Chip Ganassi Racing, Toyota's first win in their 307th start. Moreno is not able to charge on Breck. That battle remains static. And Max Pappas
so they
comes
can
through
draft
in
up and lead coming off of turn 4. Maybe you want to be second. Maybe you've got enough time to pop out and draft by. But it looks, I've been watching this game, Paul. It's been very, very close. The following driver going into turn 3 can get up side by side, but can't get a definite advantage by the time they get to the start-finish stripe. If start-finish was down another 50 to 100 yards, it would work.
The timing line is a little bit down this year. They had to move it down a little bit just to get a good cut into the track surface for the computerized scoring antenna that reads the transponder. Tony Kanaan last year took the lead and won this race in the last mile. John Paul Jr. did the same racing with Rick Mears. Last mile of the race, took the lead and the win.
You can see that time what Montoya did is he blocked off the inside going into turn 3. Whoa, left Michael the high side. And if Montoya can get a little farther out, he'll break the draft. He's still putting up a big enough wind shadow at this distance for Michael to get him.
Max Pappas finally had his problem develop into something truly serious and is off the run. Jan Beekes.
He called on the radio and said, I think the engine's gone. He's just trying to bring it home if he can.
Montoya, Andretti, Franchitti, now Carpentier to 4th. Castroneves and Fernandez battle for 5th. But the big fight is here at the front of the field.
Will it play out this way? Will you be able to draft on that last lap down the backside? Let's see if Montoya can come back before the start-finish stripe.
Okay,
it doesn't look like it.
Last lap, 1 to go.
Michael wanted the lead with 1 lap to go.
I'm surprised at that. But Juan takes it back.
Montoya down inside. Montoya takes the lead of the race. Tarso Marquez, a slower car just ahead. Michael darts out on the backstretch. Michael tries to get it down inside. Montoya's going to stay right there on the outside. The slower car is just ahead. Montoya. Now Andretti, and they almost touched. They may have touched. The slower car is going to be a factor as Montoya brings him to the line. And Montoya takes the Michigan 500.
what a finish! 4/100ths of a second. Montoya over Michael, and Montoya's 9th career win.
What a brilliant move. Michael Andretti thought he would box Montoya behind Marquez. Instead, Montoya picked up Marquez's draft and was able to use that to pull ahead of Michael Andretti. What an amazing talent this young man is.
Toyota looking for their 4th straight win on an oval. Carpentier still closing, but because Carpentier stopped 32 laps ago, Montoya 48 laps ago, you would think that Montoya will now pick up the speed. Carpentier crossed the line 12 seconds behind the leader.
Now, we've talked about the Drivers' Championship. You mentioned Toyota. We also have an engine manufacturer that's very important. That championship coming in was led by Honda, then Ford, then Toyota. Honda now, best runners, DeFerrin in 8th place. Ford in 2nd place. Toyota leading would also shake up that championship as well.
About 2.5 laps to go. I want to show you the manufacturer points coming into today as Montoya just reels it off nice and neat. Look at 1 point separation, Honda, Ford. Toyota's going to take a leap in that now if they can continue their position on the track for the next 2 laps with Montoya at the helm. Time's running out rapidly for Carpentier. He improved only about second the last lap. He's not going to make it, but still it's going to be a spectacular ride for Carpentier. He comes home in 2nd place, equaling his best finish.
The crowd now on their feet, Paul, as the white flag comes out.
He has been so powerful on the ovals this year. He's going to do it again. Montoya, 1 more pass of the backstretch and he will have his 10th career win in hand. And that's going to tie him for 9th on the all-time list. Rutherford, Sneva, Unser, those kind of names. Checkered flag.
Praise the Lord. You're the man. You are the man.
A slight change for the mantra by Ganassi, but nevertheless it finishes as a win. Now, still some action going to continue behind him. We'll see how Carpentier certainly will come across in 2nd place. And the checkered's going to come out for the rest of the field. Moreno D'Amata.
2 to go.
What a great story one Pablo Montoya is.
Had a great run in Indianapolis, was strong at Texas, but I really think he stamped his authority on this track at Pocono in qualifying, guys, when Will Power set a blistering 2:23 lap and Montoya went out and clipped him one better.
He's got a lot of experience here, Townsend. He's raced here many times in NASCAR. He's qualified on the pole in NASCAR and Cup. So this is obviously a great track for him. The crowd is going crazy for Montoya as he hits the white flag.
That's right. The Brazilians might have beaten us in the World Cup, but we're about to get some of that back right here.
What a sweet feeling this is, guys. Out front, nice gap to 2nd place with a beautifully handling Penske Indycar coming to the line for victory at Pocono.
And he said that was the reason he came to the captain's team. Who would turn down an opportunity to drive race-winning cars? It'll be his 15th career IndyCar victory, but his first since the year 2000.
Coming to the checker, my man. Oh, Juan Montoya today. Juan Montoya, there he is.
Juan Montoya it is, winning here at Pocono. And the first pole sitter to win this year, breaking that jinx on the top qualifiers.
Thank you. Thank you for hanging with me, the guys. I really appreciate it. It's an honor racing
The distance consistent. Our Firestone durable driver of the race. Again, getting the lead on the exchange of pit stops and fending off the challenge of Will Power. Now, if there's any question about did he make enough fuel to make the finish, we'll hope they figured that out by now and dialed it back a little bit. There is a big gaggle of cars up ahead of him.
And when there's more than 1 or 2, it's usually difficult to get around. And that group will probably be racing each other for a position, so sometimes you're not mindful to look in the mirror.
I don't know if he'll catch them in 2 laps, but he might. This group that includes a number of drivers that have had some trouble today, including Scott Dixon way back there in 16th place. Oh, he will catch him. First one there he is right there is the 98, Gabby Chavez, last year's Indy Lights champion. Rookie this year in the Verizon IndyCar Series, driving the 98. Chavez has had his share of troubles today. He has just 2 seconds over power, 1.7 seconds over power. And you can throw that amount of time away in 2 corners. So here he comes to the white flag. And we enter the final lap of the season opening race for Montoya. Montoya, the 39-year-old, with 1 win last year. That came at Pocono. Finished 4th in the championship. And, of course, the first part of the season, very much a struggle as he adapted to returning to open-wheel racing. But he finished the season with 3 straight top 5s after some mid-season adjustments to his team lineup last year, and has picked up this season right where he left off at the front of the field. Boy, this is going to be tight right at the end. Trouble in front of him. Kimball gets spun around, but he's well clear of Montoya. And here comes Juan Pablo to the final corner with the checkered flag ahead. His first win of the season and his 13th career in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Juan Pablo Montoya wins at St. Petersburg.
Good job, guys. Hell of a job. Hell of a job. Copy. Hell of an off-season. Thank you.
For the captain, Roger Penske, a trip to victory lane, and 4 of the first 5 finishers to start off this year. How about that drive for Montoya? He's back to the Montoya that we all know and recognize.
Impressive. You know, he's one of the elder statesmen in this series right now, 39 years old.
Great work. Good job. Good job, buddy.
Car to stay with these front 2 and try and win this race.
After this lap, Power will have 4 laps to go.
Four to go here. 4 to go.
It's the voice of Tim Cindric, the strategist for Willpower.
I don't know how Dixon's going to stop Montoya this time.
There's Emma Dixon. The outside move. Montoya on Dixon for second.
Clear.
That was a surprise clear from the spotter.
Yeah.
Holy
You made it.
smokes, you made it. Yeah.
3 laps to go after this one.
And that really cost Dixon a lot of ground and momentum. Here's Montoya with a full run on Willpower for the race lead.
We're together here.
He's cleared it.
I think he decided, Eddie, it's time to go.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the right place to be in.
5.
Montoya was 30th. Look at Dixon. He lost 3rd place to Charlie Kimball. That moment cost Dixon 3rd place and a shot at fighting these 2 for the win.
And Montoya's driving away.
5 miles is a lot of distance the way this draft has been working today. And here they come. The final 2 laps, 5 miles at Indianapolis. Juan Pablo Montoya leads. Will Power is 2nd. Charlie Kimball 3rd. Scott Dixon 4th. Next time is the white flag.
And Power is back in his toe. Montoya is trying to break the toe by going to the bottom part of the track and then back up to the high part.
And right now it will be a Penske win unless these 2 guys take themselves out. And then who's behind you? 2 Ganassi cars.
The white flag is waiting at the yard of bricks. And we enter the final lap of the Indianapolis 500. Kimball has caught up to Power. 1 lap to go. Who's going to win it? Power slipped in turn 2. Justin Wilson just came off the pit lane. He and Munoz had to stop for fuel. Final 2 corners for Montoya. He was all the way back in 30th place after an opening laps crash. Here they come to the checkered flag. And the winner of the Indianapolis 500 is Juan Pablo Montoya.
The man! Yeah!